Welcome everyone to the Mega Comics Cast. I am your host, Matrixlord212, and I am talking to Scott. What's up, Scott?
Hello, all.
All right, so I really have to address this because this is probably the biggest disgrace in comic book history. I had read all the issues of the X-Men relaunch, House of X and Powers of X, which would then, at the end of the storyline, reboot the franchise of the X-Men and all the mutant titles. Um, it's like a double meaning like X-Men and also 10, meaning the 10th timeline. And this is spoilers for anybody who didn't read these comics. Don't read it. But the biggest shock to this whole comic storyline is the fact that Moira McTaggart is one of the biggest mutants there is. She has the power of reincarnation, which
I remember hearing about that.
Technically makes no sense because, when you die, like, how would your powers zap you backwards in time? That's outside of the body. That's weird. Like if Professor X left his body, he wouldn't have his, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I thought when they had that issue, that was an excellent take, but it's been done before, right? So now that I read this, beyond a shadow of a doubt, Charles Xavier gave up on his dream. No longer does he want to live peaceful coexistence and harmony with the human race. No longer does he see him as human either. Now, the whole definition of a mutation is something that's different other than in the DNA, right?
Yeah,
so they are
supposed to indicate something extra.
Right. So they're humans, but they're extra humans, right? They're X-Men, right? That's not the way they see themselves now. They see themselves as a completely different species. And the problem with this book is that now, because he's seen the vision of the future, Professor X has welcomed every single mutant there is, mass murderers, dictators, evil mutants, because mass murderers are better than the regular human being.
Oh, God.
This is beyond woke, and this is beyond anything we've ever seen. This is racism. This is causing rebellion. This is, I cannot believe, if you want to ban something, you ban this. This doesn't go in schools. They wanted to ban something else.
You think it's because of the way today's society's going? That's why they're doing it this way?
All I know is that they turned the X-Men into terrorists where they would kill humans with no powers. And now they've made it that Professor X had teamed with Mr. Sinister and Forge and all these people. So anytime he sends an X-Men on a mission, they're already copied with their DNA. And he can grow them in an egg on this island of Koroa.
Yeah.
So he sent the X-Men to their deaths. And he had an egg with the island, and it took like 72 hours for Cyclops, Jean Grey, Wolverine, Monarch St. Croix, Nightcrawler, a few of them to come back.
St. Croix
to come back to life.
St. Croix.
Right. So they had new bodies, and then he used his psychic ability to put their spirit, which I have to stress this. I don't care if you're a telepath. He doesn't have the powers of mystic to pull a spirit from the dimension of heaven or hell. So this is beyond belief that he has this power. So he's able to put their consciousness back in their body 3 days later, and they never die. They never age, and they're all living together. Apocalypse, who's killed tons of mutants and humans, Magneto. They just fall in line with Professor X. And he's like, oh no, I need some crooked, evil mutants too. So let's get them too. Because if this doesn't work, we got to go under the market, black market style. And I need their villainy to deal with the humans. So the dialogue that they all speak is as if one character is saying the same thing. Nobody has any originality. Nobody has, this guy does not know how to write for any of the X-Men, period, because they don't talk like this. And the stupidity that comes from their mouth, like, this is stuff like as if someone would be commenting against the military that's never been in the military. This person is just ignorant, and he's oblivious, and it's just dangerous, and it's nasty. And he turned all the X-Men, all the mutants, into assholes. He turned Professor X into an evil dictator that basically threatened the human race, that he has the cure for cancer and all these things, but he won't give it to them unless they give him stuff in return. Meaning they give him this, they allow him to be on this sovereign island where they have diplomatic immunity, where they can kill anybody they want with no crimes attached to them. He basically sends in Emma Frost to the United States courthouse government to basically take Sabretooth out of there against the United States. He says that they agreed that they all have diplomatic immunity, and they were ready to shoot, the White Queen, because they're like, this is bullshit. And when they had a vote, Emma Frost made them vote the way she wanted. She basically went in their minds and made the United States and everybody vote that it was okay. So
it sounds like he's using today's society to pass it on, pass it into the comic book.
Well, Professor X doesn't do evil stuff like this. Professor X doesn't smile when humans die. And Wolverine doesn't act like this. None of them act like this. They're all like robots following Professor X. Professor X is eating dinner next to Apocalypse, Mr. Sinister, and mass murderers. And I'm looking at this, but they're okay because they're better than the human being. The human being mother
that's come back later and say this is just an alternate reality, or
no. The human being mother soccer mom is more evil than the mass murderer that killed millions of people in Egypt, like Apocalypse. So this guy that's done this is, I cannot even believe I've read this. And I speed through reading it. Like instead of taking a whole week, I decided to read the whole damn thing because I was so disgusted that I spent money on this. And I even read X-Men #1 after this. That I said to myself, I'm dumping the X-Men. I'm never going to read them again. And I don't even know if I'll ever read them again. Because unless somebody changes this whole entire thing. Now, no one has ever invoked that kind of emotion for me, that I actually purely hate the heroes that I've loved for a while. Okay? I don't even want to have action figures out. Okay? That's almost as if you basically turn the X-Men into Nazis. That's basically, I mean, they're evil. They didn't care. Like, they're fighting humans. Like, this is disgusting. And I don't care if, like, first of all, they've done evil things. They brainwashed them. They controlled them by the mind. And you know what? I was rooting for the humans that said that they got too big, the egos, that they were creating Sentinels, and, because they become evil. And the thing is, anytime somebody dies, they're back to life. So they have a thing, X-Men year 0, X-Men year 10, X-Men year 1000. So it goes all the way to thousands of years in the future. And they keep coming back to life because they have that stupid plant thing. So they never die. So they're around for thousands of years. And a way to distinguish each time period is Magneto wears a different color outfit, which is really dumb. He wears the pink, then he wears the white, then he wears the green. It's retarded and stupid. Um, I don't understand how Professor X could think that a soccer mom that has kids is more evil than a mass murderer of 1 million people. But this is the way this guy thinks. And I got to tell you, when you read the dialogue, it was like reading the same person talking. It wasn't like you could say, oh, this is Professor X talking, this is talking. It was horrendous. So I am not getting this anymore. I am disgusted because I think that Marvel has pushed the line so far. Because even in the Avengers, I dumped the Avengers comic when they said that the United States was evil.
Mm-hmm.
And they are going, Captain America is going to help out Wakanda, an African nation, rather than to hell with the United States and everybody else. And I wanted to throw up. So I basically gave up the Avengers book because I don't tolerate this brainwashing society, this woke philosophy, this, like, if you're not saying that men are stupid and women are superior, you're saying that, you know, everything is wrong and trying to teach kids to basically arm themselves. You're basically trying to get kids to commit crimes with these comic books. This is horrendous. And I got to tell you, I'm not collecting this anymore. Nope. And I'm not even exaggerating, because if you read these fucking comics, you're looking at this shit and you're like, why is Professor X a mass murderer? And why is it excused? And they're like, you know, and this is the thing that gets me. It's like, they, even when they were talking to the Fantastic Four, like when Cyclops was talking to the Fantastic Four, they look at him like, you're a fucking asshole. You're a lying asshole, right? He's like, oh, I'm sure you'll come to me when Franklin deals with, you know, racial prejudice and stuff. No, they're not, because guess what? If you look at the definition of mutants, if the mother has powers,
that is a race.
Right. If the mother has powers and the father has powers and the kid has powers also, he's not a mutant, because it's the same thing. So no, Franklin Richards never got any prejudice for being a mutant because he's not a mutant. Okay. If the kid was different and human, and they weren't, then he'd be a mutant. But they lose this. This is how stupid they are. So no, nobody ever in any comic prejudices Franklin Richards for being a mutant. Then nobody ever bothers him. Just like nobody ever bothers Spider-Man's kid. Nobody ever bothers anything about mutants, because in the real Marvel Universe world, it's not like the 90s or 80s. They're trying to capture the racism from the back in the day, and it's over with because nobody could care less in the damn Marvel Universe. There is no, like, oh, they're not going to be prejudiced against mutants if fucking, like, somebody like, you know, Thanos is going to kill the goddamn fucking world and universe, right? They don't give a fuck, you know, because you have powers. How do you distinguish that? Somebody's going to stand there and say, you're a mutant, you have powers, you're a superhero, you have powers. What's the fucking difference? You're born with it, you're not born with it. It's like, give me a fucking break. So the point is like, I think that they lost sight of what the X-Men are. They lost sight because every time they show these futures, none of the Avengers are in it. No superhero exists. It's just the X-Men, right? So I would suggest for Marvel is to just totally take the X-Men out of the Marvel universe and put them in a universe by themselves, because it is basically impossible for them to rule the world without the Avengers getting involved or any other superhero. So what I predict, honestly, is that they're going to do an A versus X2. Avengers versus X-Men. And they're going to be...
This is actually leading up to?
I think that... This is what I think. I think they created this before they were bought by Fox. I thought that they created this as a bashing to the X-Men, to where people would hate the X-Men.
Because they can purposely cancel it.
Right. Like I thought that they did this as a thing to, and now it's too late, but they put the garbage out anyway, that this was years in the planning. So when this was created, they didn't bought it. Now that they bought it, Disney should look at this and they be like, wait a minute. And I think Kevin Feige should look at these comics and say, how dare you? put this out like this?
This could be
How dare you?
this could be leading to something. Not to be the little devil's advocate. This could be leading to
Yeah,
something.
A versus X, a
Yeah, A
money
versus
making
X.
thing,
Because
a money making thing.
they always have a year plan, and that because remember when Cap.
But this is years in the making, meaning when they didn't own the X-Men.
Hydra Cap.
Disney.
It was said that you were always.
Yeah, but this is years in the making.
Hold on, there's something more to go, but
this is years in the making. But the thing is that they did this probably when Disney didn't purchase X-Men. So in knowing that Disney purchased X-Men, how about not release this? Because now there's no point to this. Because now that
they can switch now when the movie comes out, they can base it on their on the new movie.
They can't make this into a movie.
Then they can also turn around. You can also turn around and go, oh, this is an alternate universe, or oh, look, these were actually.
Well, I'm hoping they do that.
These were actually evil mutants who were trying to impersonate.
I'm hoping that this comic, they say that this is not even the Marvel universe at all.
No, yeah, I know. That's what
I'm hoping. I'm hoping because this is garbage. I'm hoping they do that because this is terrible. This is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Because they said, from the get-go, I heard this House and Power of X was a totally different universe.
No, it's connected to now the X-Men books now.
But they still said this was not the.
No, this is the books now. This is what they're doing, and I got to tell you, I hope that they change it back because this is the end. This is the dark ages of comics. This is the end. This is horrendous. If anybody was alive that they'd be dead just reading this, that created this. So no, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of this. And that's it. You basically got me to hate Marvel heroes. Thank you. Thank you. Disgusting. But I had to say what I have to say because again, I'm a big Marvel Comics guy, but this was horrendous. This was bad. You are gonna if I cannot see people getting this, and if they do, then I worry that this will not create horrible things in the future. So bad. It's bad. I think Kevin Feige needs to read these and look at this, and this is what you're putting out. I think he needs to look at these and say, wait a minute, and let's put a stop to it. And get rid of that guy and get rid of that whole damn team. And no, this is not the X-Men that Xavier's dream of coexistence with humans and mutants. And they got to get rid of that whole handle too, because it's 2019 and that shit doesn't exist in Marvel Comics. Nobody in Spider-Man comics goes to this person, you're a mutant. Like it's like this, like you're making it like it's the Dark Ages, like, but it's the same time period. It's not. Like people don't even give a shit about that anymore. And honestly, those futures that they had would never happen. Captain America, all of them, they would never allow that. And then they went even far as into they all have this thing that they want to do 1,000 years, 10,000 years, and oh my God, the Phalanx is, we're gonna merge with the Phalanx, and the human race is gonna be gone. Yeah. The Phalanx, first of all, I hated when they introduced the Phalanx. That shit sucked. I thought they were a crappy ass race, crappy ass thing, especially when that guy
it's the Phalanx.
Phalanx, whatever the hell they are. I hated that. Yeah, and then they try to make it like, oh my God, they're like the Borg almost, but like whatever. Like they're terrible. I oh my God, no matter what, the X-Men lose. But here's the thing. They took over the world, they took over this, they took over, what else do you want? Like, you want to take over the universe too? Like, I don't understand, like, what they think they need to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't get it. So, you lost me, and that's the end of this cast, because, it's a disgrace that I had to vent this out, but horrible comics. You may like the art, but you know what? If you really know the X-Men, if you really know the characters, if you really read them, they don't talk like that. They don't act like that. That's not them. They don't even have sense of humor, some of them. That is definitely not them. And there's no way that the X-Men, after fighting these people for fucking 60 years or whatever, there's no way they'll be sitting at the dinner table with a mass murderer, somebody that kills children, somebody that kills There's no way that that person's better than a soccer mom. There's no way. I don't give a crap what you say. There's no way. And this person is a nut. A nut. That Professor X would entertain that over like a regular human. That they see themselves as better, a different race entirely, which they got to stop that shit. They're not a different race entirely. They're human beings that were born with powers. Big fucking deal. That you want to make a racism thing out of it. It should be over with already, this stuff. But now they want to have sentinels till they're fucking blue in the face, and they don't. All they do is repeat the same shit, and they'll never get out of it because they always want to have it that there's racism with mutants. They got to get over that shit and do something completely different because it's fucking boring. So there you go. I vented. That's it. Take care. Bye for now.